Welcome back to my garage, folks, and the latest update on all that's been going on with my own motorcycles. And in this video, well, it's a bit of a high-risk strategy because I actually get the spanners out to make some mods to my brand new Ducati Streetfighter V4. So stick around, stay tuned, disaster could ensue. Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, and welcome back to Garage Talk, the occasional series here on the channel where we have a bit of a nosy around my garage. I'll tell you all that's been going on with my own personal motorcycles, and there's been quite a lot going on since the last edition of Garage Talk, I have to say. So to start then, let's have a little look, shall we, at my Kawasaki Z900 RS, because there's not an awful lot to report here. Here she is, absolutely beautiful bike. I love this machine. The only thing that's happened with this, I think, since I last gave you an update, was it's had her annual service this week, and so all is well there, so she's in tip-top order. Now I think no other mods to be done on this. I've still got my Aochi C3 on the front here. I did take it off for a little while, because just basically I'm not a big fan of having things like this bolted on retro bikes, but it's so flipping useful. I put it back on for a recent video when I went into London, and also I'm going to need this again for when if I end up taking this bike to Spain early next year. I don't know if I'm going to take this one yet or my Street Fighter, more on that another time. Anyway, yeah, this little gadget is brilliant. It gives you Apple CarPlay, and I can get you these for 70 quid. I'll put a link in the corner to a video I made about that a while back, and they're an absolute no-brainer. If you want some nav on your bike, you don't want to risk damaging your camera on your phone and mounting it on a mount directly on the bike, then that's the way to go. 75 quid, absolute winner. Anyway, no other changes on the Z900 RS. Whilst we're talking Kawasaki, let's have a look at Mrs. Fly's Kawasaki. This is the Z650 RS, and again, absolutely nothing to report here. In fact, Mrs. Fly hasn't been riding it that much because, would you believe, she's got a dodgy shoulder. Who would have known? So, so she hasn't been riding it much of late, but no modifications to report. Nothing done on that since you last saw it. So great little bike, and yeah, she's still loving it when she can ride it. But all right, swiftly moving on. In fact, next we'll talk about my GS, and there's been absolutely loads of changes on here. But so I can get at it and show you them properly, I'll just have a quick move around the garage. I'll be back within a second. Alrighty, I've just moved Mrs. Fly's bike out of the garage just to make a bit more space. So I can talk you through all the mods I've made on the GS since I've had it. I've had this bike now, what, probably about 2 months, something like that. It's an R1250 GS. It's new to me, but it is actually, I think, a 2023. I think it's a 2023 model, but it's a lovely example of the triple black. But I've made a few changes to make it even better. And I have had to write these down because there's a lot and I don't want to miss anything. So in no particular order of importance, I've added, first of all, this here is a little charging lead. Let me show you. There we go. I've just wired that directly into the battery, which is under here. So it means if I do need to charge a battery, I don't have to faff about taking the plate off. I just plug my charger straight into there. I have to say, so far, I've had no issues with the battery on the GS, and I haven't had to do any charging up. Oh, let's move you up a bit. There you go. So yeah, that's the first thing, very simple mod. Next up, I've put a slightly smaller number plate on the back of the bike. I've shown you that before, but I just think it looks better. Technically, it is illegal. It's a 7x5, so it's actually a show plate. We'll go with that. Alrighty, next up, I've added the handguards from my old 1200 GS. Here they are. These handguards. They're from a company called Machine Art. That's right. And these are actually plastic. But they're great because they're really hard wearing. I think they look better than the original ones, and they've got this like adaptable wind shield thing on here. So if you undo that there, I can't do it with one hand, but basically you undo these little thumb screws in here, this bit here pops up and it gives you a bit more wind protection for when you're riding in the winter. So I like those. I just think they look good, and I think they look good on the all black bike as well. Okay, what's next on my list? Oh yeah, I took the anti-theft thing off the TFT. I moaned before, if you see my TFT here, it used to have like an anti-theft bracket thing around the outside, and it just looked a little bit rubbish. So it was a bit of a faff to take off, but I took it off and I think it looks much better. So yeah, that was another little mod that I did. Oh, added a Screen Angels TFT protector as well. Basically, which again, you can't see, look, but on the TFT, I have actually got a very thin glass protector on there as well, just to stop it being scratched. If I did ever get any marks or whatever on there, I could just peel that off and stick another one on there. So yeah, recommend them. They used to be, they're friends of the channel, Screen Angels, or Speedo Angels they're called. Check them out if you want to get yourself a protector for your TFT on your BMW. All right, next up, I put my old MRA Vario screen on. This gets a lot of comments actually on my videos, this windscreen. People ask me, what's this deflector on the top? Well, it's the whole windscreen that's actually new. Well, it's not new, it's the one again from my old 1200 GS. I've had a lot of comments in videos, people say it gets in the way of the view, which is interesting because when I had it on my old GS, which I had it on there for like 10 years, no one ever said it got in the way of the view. So I don't know if it's just because it's black and people think it's getting a bit distracting, I don't know. But it works well. I find at my height, that just keeps any buffeting off my wind. And the trick with these deflectors is to have them parallel to the windscreen itself, so you get what's called laminar flow, and that means you don't get all the buffeting on your head. So yeah, if you want one of those, that's called an MRA Vario screen. I'm sure you can still get them, I'm not too sure where. As I say, I've had that over 10 years. All right, next on the list. Oh, yeah, this is a big one. I bought myself a low heated seat. Now, one of the reasons I went for this particular bike is because it's got heated seats on it. That was very important to me. But I thought that the standard seat might be a bit tall for me. So I talked about this on a previous video, and then a kind viewer got in touch with me and said he had a heated seat that was spare. Did I want it? So I bought it from him for 100 quid. And at the same time, I also bought one of those little seat adapter things from eBay for about 15 quid. Now, it turns out the seat adapter worked absolutely fine. This is actually the standard seat that I've got on here, and it lowered the seat enough for me, and I didn't need the low heated seat at all. So in fact, I've now got a spare low heated seat. So if you've got a GS like this and you want yourself a low heated seat, get in touch with me, send me an email. It's themissionandflyer@gmail.com, and I'll flog you my heated seat. It looks brand new for 100 quid if you want it. It's the low one. So yeah, so I've got a spare one of them, but the eBay adapter worked for me, so I'll put that under there as well. Right, what's next on my list? Oh, another thing you can't see, but under here is the OBD connector, which you use to connect up to read error codes and things on your bike. I've got something called a Hex 911, which is the little reader thing, and I've had that for some years, and it had the wrong sort of connector, so I bought an OBD adapter, which means I can use it on this bike and plug it in, which I have done, and in fact I made a video about how you can use the Hex 911 to actually change some of the screens on the bike. I'll put a link in the corner to that as well if you've not come across that before. So I've now got the sports screen on the bike, which is another little mod which doesn't come as standard. I managed to do that because I used the Hex GS911 gadget with the new OBD adapter. Hope you're following this, as I did say there's quite a lot to go through. Right, a few easy things. Next up, black radiator shrouds here. These were silver before. I bought these again. These were from a viewer. These were spare and bolted those on, so they're absolutely brilliant. The next thing was black foot peg hangers. I tried to fit these myself with my mate John. Lamb Chops Rides came round now to go at these, but these nuts in here, or bolts, were so flipping tight. With my cheese tools, we couldn't actually get them off. So in the end, I had to go and see my mate Nigel, and he fitted those on there for me. He had a massive great breaker bar to get them on. They're really, really tight those, so yeah, they are quite difficult to fit. Even Nigel struggled a bit. And then around the other side, something else that I tried to get Chopsy to do for me, but he failed miserably, same sort of reasoning, was the black gear changer here. I got Nigel to do that as well, so another black bit, so it just kind of all blends in. I do like the stealthy black look on the triple black, I must say. Right, what's next? Oh yeah, talking of black things, I changed out the crash bars. These are SW Motech crash bars for the BMW GS. I absolutely love these. These are the same type as I had on my old GS. Again, I mainly changed them because they're black. But the other reason why I put them on is because I find these better than the standard BMW ones, because the standard BMW ones sort of poke up in a different way. They're a slightly different design. And it means you can't rest your feet on the cylinders. I know this sounds ridiculous, but sometimes if I'm on a long journey, I like to sit on the seat and rest my feet out over the front there. These crash bars allow you to do that. Let me show you what I mean. There you go, it's a bit sad. But I like to do that when I'm riding. Sometimes you get a bit of draft up your trouser leg, and it just makes for a bit of comfort. You can stretch your legs out, and it means you're not burning your legs on the cylinder heads. Alrighty, and while we're talking SW Motech, I've also got this, a tank bag. This is from SW Motech. It's a brilliant little gadget. Now, when I first got it, I thought that it might be a little bit too small to be useful, but actually it's turned out to be really useful, because what I use it for is keeping my phone in. Because what I've done is I've put from here, I've got a USB lead that comes in here, which comes through a little hole, is obviously for that purpose in the bag, and then I keep my phone in there and my wallet and all my little bits and pieces that I need to get at, tolls, that sort of thing, and it's proved absolutely invaluable. I really love that. So that's gone on there. It fits on a tank ring that goes on the fuel tank. It's a really neat install. You actually pull this here, if I can do it one-handed, there you go, and then it just comes off. Dead easy for when you want to refuel, and there's the there's the tank ring that it goes on, and it goes back on really easily. Actually, it's like a magnet. So there you go, that's it, and it's solid as you like once it's on there. So yeah, really like that. Check out the SW Motech website if you're interested in one of those, or indeed the crash bars. And the good news is that SW Motech once again have said that for the next 24 hours you can get a 10% discount on anything on their website. So I'll put a link below in the description to the SW Motech website. You have to follow their link, and if you use the discount code TMF10 you can get yourself 10% off anything. Now that's only valid, as I say, for 2 days. So this video is going up Saturday morning. It works until Sunday at midnight. So if you fancy anything from SW Motech, get in there quick and use that code TMF10. Follow that link below and you can get yourself a healthy 10% off. Next up, while I'm down here, I've also installed on the GS these mudslingers. These again are from Machine Art. So this is obviously one on the front, and I've got one on the back here as well that just goes down there. Can you see that? And it goes all the way down there. And what I love about these is because they go a long way down, if I straighten the handlebars, you can see, look, that is going to stop all the mud and crud going up and hitting the back of the engine. My old 1200 GS ended up getting a bit pitted and stuff here where crud was always flying up there. This just stops all that. It's dead easy to install. It's just 2 screws and it sort of lips on there. It could not be easier. And then the rear one, which in some ways is even better because it goes all the way down here, look, and it stops all the crud flying up and hitting your shock and everything there, which again was something that was a problem on my 1200. And it keeps Mrs. Fly, when she's on the back, a bit cleaner, so she's very happy about that. That couldn't be easier to install. It's literally, look, a couple of cable ties there, 2 on the other side, and bingo bongo, you're on there. If you fancy mudslingers, I got these from a company called Nippy Normans. Now, I've used them before, I've mentioned them before. They're very good for all sorts of BMW GS accessories. So if you just Google Nippy Normans, you can get yourself mudslingers from them. I think they're I don't know if they're the sole supplier, but that's where I got these from. And they're just dead easy to fit, and they just keep your bike much cleaner. So really pleased with those. Right, last but not least on the GS, I said there are a lot of changes on the GS. I've added this new screen, as you probably saw when I was talking about the TFT earlier. This is from a company called CPMC, stands for CarPlay for Motorcycle. It's specifically for the BMW GS. It integrates with the WizzWheel. It gives you Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and this is a 6-inch display. And I think it just works really nicely with the TFT on the bike. I've made a video about this as well. Again, I'll put a link in the corner. If you want one of these, I can get you one at an incredible £170 using the discount code TMF22. Again, you have to follow my special link. If you want to get the discount on that, the discount is added just before, I think, you go and check out. So don't be alarmed, you will get the discount on it. But if you want to force it to do it, TMF22, get yourself 22% off one of these, bringing the price down to 170 quid, which is an absolute bargain for something that works so well as that. As I say, watch my video on it and you can see it's a bit of a no-brainer if you're a GS owner. Right, I need to get your breath back. I'm going to need to have a stiff drink after all this. Let's go on then to my newest bike, the Ducati Streetfighter V4S. I absolutely love this thing. Number of mods since you've last seen this bike, and I do get the spanners out in a minute, so stay tuned for that. That's where the peril lies. Okay, first thing is, I bought an ex-demo bike when I bought this. This was the demo bike down at On Your Bike. So I've had a few little mods added to it. One thing that they already had on it was the radiator guards here. These are from Evotech Performance, and they just protect the radiator, so that was on there by the dealer, so that was excellent news. So they're there. Next thing I've had added were these Ducati Performance indicators. These are progressive ones that flash out. They look really cool compared to the cheap and nasty ones that come as standard. The cheap and nasty standard ones look much like this that I've got on the rear. I'm still waiting for a tail tidy to go on here, and I'll be replacing those when I do. The good news is the tail tidy is in now, and in 2 weeks' time I'm going to get that fitted. So you'll see the new tail tidy, and some some bar risers I'm going to put on here to try and make the bike a little bit more comfortable. Those are going to be fitted by the dealer in 2 weeks' time. Still waiting though for the bar end mirrors. They're still not in yet, so I think it's because it's August, Italy's on holiday or something, but eventually maybe I'll get the bar end mirrors, I don't know, but some of those mods happening quite soon. What else have we got on here? Oh, fancy brake and clutch reservoirs up here, look. These are from Rizoma, and they've sort of got an anodised bit and a plastic bit, and I rather like them myself, but it's hilarious because they're quite expensive. I added those, as I say, when I bought it. There we go. But when you're sat on the bike, they look like that, and I've had a number of people say, oh, you've still got those piss pot reservoirs on your Ducati, which is a bit of a killer because there are a few £100 to add, so that's a bit of a pain. Oh, and the other thing that's in at the dealers now as well, you may remember when I first got the bike and made a video about it, I was moaning about the poor paint finish on the front here, just here in particular. Well, this panel now is in at the dealers, and that's going to be replaced in 2 weeks as well. All right, talking about poor paint finish, and this is where the spannering comes in, I've been getting the old tools out again and made a few mods myself to the Ducati. So here's a video I recorded yesterday, hence the different colour shirt. Now, you may remember when I first bought my new Streetfighter that I was a little bit disappointed with the finish on some parts of the bike. It's this sort of matte finish, so it's got grey and black bits, and these sort of semi-gloss matte finishes are known to be quite difficult to you know, live with, and that has certainly proven to be the case in this Ducati. Now, there was a bit on the front tank here, which you might recall I didn't like. Can you see there's like a shiny mark there, just on there? It looks like a finger mark or a greasy mark. I don't know if you can see it. In fact, I wonder if I get my little torch out. You might better see it. Hang on a second. There we go. Look, if I put my torch on there, does that help? It's like a greasy, looks like a greasy finger mark. Anyway, I'm glad to say that the dealer has got me a new one of those, and that's actually going to be fitted in 2 weeks' time. So I'm pleased about that. And what I've done so it doesn't happen on the new front is, as you can see, I've trimmed down the what was a keyring bit. So I've literally just got the key on there, so nothing's going to flap on there when I get the new one. But anyway, since I discovered that, I've also started to be a bit more picky and look closely over the bike. And I have to say, some of the finishes are absolutely shocking on here, to the degree that they started to really annoy me. So one is this back tailpiece in this grey. In certain light, it looks absolutely shocking. Again, I don't know if it's going to be, if this camera will pick it up very well. Let me try and get my torch on it again. See if this helps. Can you see, when I move that on there, there's all sorts of marks on there. Let's come around this side. It might be where people's boots have hit. That's an even better look. You see all these sort of shiny marks on there? That just really winds me up. And then the other bad panel I noticed is the front mudguard. Check this out for absolutely horrible. All sorts of marks on there, you see. So I thought I've got to do something about this. Now, I did, when I mentioned the bad finishes before, a few of you recommended some cleaning stuff. So what I've tried is this from Muck Off. No affiliation here, I just tried it, matte finish detailer. That hasn't worked or helped. I've had Dr. Downpipe's matte paint cleaner, I've tried that, again, didn't work. So actually, nothing's going to work on these. So what I've decided what I'm going to do, because that front mudguard in particular, which again, not doing a great job of showing you that in this light, but trust me, that is just beyond repair. And that rear section really wound me up. So I've actually bought myself new sections, which are here. They've turned up and these look absolutely lovely. If we, again, if I do the light on there, look, you can see that is absolutely brand new and spangly, as is this front mudguard, absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to attempt to fit these, which is always a bit of a dangerous thing when I get started with the tools in the garage, and I'm wondering whether I need any special tools to do this.
Did you say Ducati special tools, Andy? I think you've been needing these.
Actually, Chopsy, I think I'm all right. If you look under here, they're just bog standard Allen bolts. So I'm going to crack on, replace these, and hopefully that's going to be a big improvement. Then I'll show you some outstanding bits that annoy me, which I don't know what I'm going to do about, and maybe you can advise me on that. Right, so after some ado, it has to be said, I've got those parts fitted and I'm absolutely chuffed with them. As ever, these things were far harder and I made far more of a meal of them than they need to be. So the front mudguard looks absolutely fantastic on there now. Brand new, no marks whatsoever, lovely. The only difficulty with this was you have to feed through the sensor for the ABS. It turns out the wire goes right up here and under some clips here, so that was a bit of a faff. And then the other thing was where the brake lines go, you can see you've got this little bracket here, that undone from under there. That was a right faff to get the nut on there, but got there in the end, so that's fine. And then on the rear end, where it looks absolutely fantastic. That was dead easy to do, just the 4 bolts. But the problem was I didn't realise I had to do this twice, because there's a little clip under here. It has to clip in place to stop that lifting up. So I actually had to do that twice. So classic TMF bit of engineering, but I have to say I'm really pleased with having replaced those. They look absolutely great. So I said there was one other bit that I might need your advice on, because having now looked over the bike very closely, of course, because I'm really loving riding this bike. This is definitely a keeper now. I'm going to get that front bit replaced, as I said. But look at this front bit down here. I don't see if you can see in the light, but can you see the finish on that? Look. See that? It looks like it's all sort of stained, that somebody's used some weird cleaning agent on there. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to replace this whole section as well, and probably the section around this side, which doesn't look as bad actually, so maybe not that section. But I'm going to have a little chat to the dealer about that as well. I don't know whether they'll do that under warranty, possibly not, but again, I can't live with that. That's just going to annoy me looking at that all the time. Anyway, so there's a little couple of mods on the Street Fighter. All right, so I got away with it on the Ducati then, so all good there, and looking forward to getting those final bits done at the dealer very soon as well. So I'll no doubt update you on the next garage talk on that. So last but not least then, my Royal Enfield Interceptor, my custom bike. A few people have asked what's happened to this because you haven't seen it on the channel for a while. Well, here it is. I've still got it. It's definitely a keeper. I did for a little while wonder whether I would sell it, but I think I've spent so much time, money and effort on this, and I really do love the look of the bike. I think it's probably a keeper forever for me. So I've decided I'm going to get some more mods done, and I'm taking this down to a custom house down near Portsmouth later on in the week, and I'm going to get some more modifications done in it, primarily at the front end. I find this whole arrangement here quite messy. It's got some bar risers on here. Look at it, it's all a bit of a mess. So I'm going to see, and also I'm not that keen on the flat bars. I would like something a bit more upright, just to make it a little bit more comfortable. So I think if I had some bars that sort of are shaped more like that, I can do away with these bar risers, and that will just tidy that front end up as well. I'm thinking about losing the Royal Enfield dials and getting some smaller neater ones on there. I don't know yet, we'll see what's available. So just generally a bit of a tidy up of the front end is in order. And then the other thing is the side stand. I'll move around to show you this, which is sort of a club foot on it, which just has always annoyed me since it was originally done. So that needs adapting to look like a normal stand. It's not too straightforward, because obviously it's got to clear the exhaust and everything. So there's a little bit of modification to do there. But what I'll do is, as I say, I'll take that down to Portsmouth. Not sure how long we're going to have it for, but when it comes back, I'll give you an update and show you what the Enfield is looking like. So yeah, there we go. I think that's it. You're up to date on all the bikes. So that's it for another garage talk. I've got the other thing that I've got actually new is quite a bit of new kit for sort of the coming season. There's a new jacket hanging up there. That's from Lindstrands, I think, which I'll show you at another point. And I've got some more jackets hanging up here as well. So yeah, lots more new kit coming on the channel soon. I shall start doing my little fashion segments once again to show you that stuff at the end of videos. But anyway, there we go. That's it for garage talk. Hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to reading your comments below as ever. And yeah, till next time, this has been the Mr. Flyer. Cheerio.